gee, this sounds good. How do I get started? This was my thinking, combined with, and I sure don't want anybody to think less of me, all that was in my head at once. So I thought, I'm going to try it only in 7th grade, because I can hide it there. Nobody will know what I'm doing, right? And I'll do it in the month of February, because I have seasonal affective disorder. And the lack of sunlight puts me into a bad funk in February, and I always have to go on Prozac for 1 month. So who cares what I do in February? If I totally screw it up, I can fix it March and April. I'll get there. So I wrote my own materials because, of course, nothing anybody else did would be nearly good enough. So I made these little story based on like these and all that, you know, just had a big culture on. I made this little unit, and I kind of copied. I had seen Blaine's materials, and I loved Valerie Marsh's, the ones that Carol Dowd sells now. Loved that, and so I kind of imitated that format and did my own unit. It was going to last 1 month, and I had it all ready. And I had my little setties, and we were doing a story, and somebody would be the lab, and he would steal a chicken in his mouth and go running across the room, and the farmer would chase him and hit him with a stick. And I mean, you could just see some of the kids going hysterical. I mean, they loved it. Well, I never had such a good February. And about the 3rd week of February, these little setties came up to me and said, Madame, I've been telling my mom about this every night, you know? And like, she wants to see it. And I said, well, you know, your parents are always welcome to visit the school. It's a public school. The public. They can come. Well, you know, but like my mom works, you know? And so she can't get up work, like, you know, like, and so, and besides that, I think my dad wants to come too, you know, like, I go, and? Well, could you do something like it, you know? Okay, I've been teaching, what, 26, whatever the number is. Okay, I've been teaching a long time. I had never, when I taught elementary school, when I taught junior high, when I taught high school, and even when I did tutoring in college, I never had somebody say, could we do an extra class at night? That was new. So I thought, something's working here. So we did. We put on a little thing at night, and I gave the kids little situations, and they had to spontaneously put on skits for their parents. Plus, they had prepared skits because they wanted their parents to see the neat wigs and stuff I have. So we did this thing, you know, and the parents came and they watched it, they went home, and you know, I'm not sure they were as impressed as I was. Because I've been watching kids this age for 20-some years, and I know they can't do this. And I think the parents were kind of like, oh, isn't my child adorable? He always is. You know, I don't think they got it, that this is revolutionary. Okay. At the end of February, then I thought, oh gosh, I have to finish the book. So I went back to the book. And the kids kept saying, Madame, are we going to do that again? You know, that thing with the farmer and stuff? And I said, yeah, we will. Don't worry. I had to finish the book. Come on. So I finished the book, and I just kept telling them, oh yeah, we will. And then, oh gosh, I guess we ran out of time. So at the end of the year, I gave them this test, like I always do. But here's the kicker. I had some questions from February. And just out of curiosity, when I was grading the test, you know, the average score was a 78%. It always had been my entire year of teaching. It always turned out 78% for the average. But I pulled out my February, the questions of words, vocabulary, phrases, anything that came from February. And just out of curiosity, the average was 91%. Dang! If I could teach that well in February, what could I do if I did it during the month when I'd actually worked? What are the possibilities? So I went to the principal and asked permission to do a pilot, and he said, like, I'll still do the textbook. And I said, oh yeah, sure. And the rest is history. The rest is history. But I remember that scary thing. And I also, the first year that I went into a full-time, absolutely, I'm doing TPRS, that year, I had the TV camera set up in the corner because I used to videotape my kids a lot doing stuff. And one year, the kids were doing some skits or something or other, and for homework, I had the kids do the old, homework assignment where you draw a line here and then horizontal lines here and then illustrate a picture that you can tell completely in French. That'd been homework. And I was going to get to that in a minute, but I had to do something over here with some other kids. And so these kids are all hanging around with these stories, and they said, can we tell them to each other? Up until that point, 27 years of teaching, I'd never had kids say, Madame, would it be okay if I spoke French? So it kind of caught me off guard, and I said, yeah. And they said, could we go over and tell it to the TV? To the, the camera? And I said, well, I'm going to be videotaping 8th grade today, so use this tape, but have at it. Thank goodness I did that. I took that tape home that night, just out of curiosity to see what it was. Here are these little sevies. They had, it was like, I think November, so they had 2 months of French. And they're babbling. They're holding up their stories, and they're telling the stories, which you would expect they drool. They ought to be able to tell the story. But this was what was cool. They put it down and go, wait, give me yours. Is this a dog? No? What is it? Oh, it's a cat. Okay. And they tell a story. They've never seen this in their lives. They're speaking spontaneous French. They could always do the prepared stuff. It's that spontaneous they had never been able to do. And I looked at them and I went, that's the AP exam. That's what it was in those days. There were these pictures, there were line drawings, and the kids had to look at the pictures and speak French. And I'm like, they got 2 months of French and they're already passing the AP exam. This stuff works. After that moment, I never looked back. And you know what? The semester exam, the spontaneous speaking, I had to invent a whole completely new one. Because the one I had, they could do by semester and get 100%. I needed a more challenging speaking assessment after that. Wow! Well, then it was time for me to retire. And I've been telling my husband all this time, oh, I can't wait, I'm hanging on by my fingernails, I can't wait to retire, And I said, but I don't want to anymore. I taught all these years because I wanted to make kids speak French. Now they can do it and I'm going to quit? I finally get what I want? I taught for 4 more years past my retirement just because I love this so much. And every year Blaine and I would come up with something new that we thought would make kids better, and then we'd want to try it. And so, TPRS changed my life, it gave me a life, so I'm way sold on it. And I'm here to tell you I still understand your, how do I get started?